Mahiyat?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone.
Ju-
I
just
am
just a,
Mahad.
s- just a second, sorry. Kafia, you can mute yourself maybe. There is some background noise from your end.
Can I start, sir?
No, just a second. I mean mute. So you can keep your video on, Kafia. Just mute yourself. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Maya, go on.
Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. I am Mahad bin Noor, a student of Aliah University from Journalism and Mass Communication Department. First of all, I extend a warm welcome to all the students and the teachers of our university. Today, we are pleased to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Nurul Islam Laskar, sir, a very special guest who will give his speech about PR, government and private sector. Today, we will get to learn on all of these, but with that, I would also like to introduce Dr. Muhammad Riyaz, sir, who is the chairperson and organizing committee of Aliah University and who is the head officiating of JMC department. I would also like to introduce our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Aliah University, Professor Said Nurul Islam, our Dean Students Welfare, Professor Amjad Hussain Sir, Professor Neil Riazul Kareem, Dean Faculty of Humanities and Languages, and Dr. Sheikh Ashfaq Ali, our Deputy Registrar. So we are really thankful to all the teachers for giving out their time in the busy schedule to attend the program. So I would like to request Dr. Muhammad Riyaz sir to tell us a few words. So over to you, sir.
Just mute yourself. Okay, so thank you so much, Mahat. I must thank actually Dr. Kafia Laskar, who is playing the key role in organizing this workshop, and of course our esteemed speaker Nurul Laskar Sahab. We are Facebook friends, so to say, for at least 2012. I went to Assam, and I think since then we are Facebook friends. But we got to meet only in 2000, I think 19 end or something. And since then, the idea of organizing this workshop has been there. It was actually originally planned in March, I think March or April. We were planning to do this in like February. We started, we got the approval from the university authorities and all last year. But then lockdown happened and then nothing could happen. But luckily we have this online option now. And so we have Nurul Laskar Sahab with us today finally. So as head of the department officiating, on behalf of my department and on behalf of Aliah University, I welcome Nurul Laskar Sahab, and I also welcome all our participants. Most about half of them are our students, but there are several other participants from different parts of the country, and also my two colleagues, Dr. Kafian Laskar and Ghazala ma'am, she's also here. So I welcome you all on behalf of the department and on behalf of the university. I won't take much time, I won't waste much time. This is primarily between Laskar Sahab and our students and our other participants. So with these few words, I thank once again our speaker and Dr. Kafia Ansar Laskar for organizing this, and to Nurul Laskar Sahab for agreeing to speak. I won't take much time. Over to you, Mahat. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. And Bhavina will speak now.
Yes, very good afternoon. Am I audible?
You, Bhavina.
Yes, am I audible?
You are audible. Go on.
Uh, yes, so a very good afternoon to everyone present here. My name is Baharina Tanveer. I am a student of the journalism department of Aliah University. As you all must have read from the title and from the posters, we have gathered here to learn and discuss about public relations in the government and private sector. And it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for the event, Mr. Nurul Islam Laskar. Mr. Laskar is the founder chairperson of the Public Relations Council of India, PRCI Guwahati Chapter, and the founder of the charitable trust, the Stars of Northeast India. Before moving forward, I would like to brief our audience on Mr. Laskar's journey that started from the year 1972 when he joined the State Bank of India as a probationary officer, and later he took voluntary retirement in 2002 while he was the um, Chief Manager, Public Relations and Community Services Banking at SBI, Northeastern Circle, Guwahati. Thereafter, he was the consulting editor of an English daily, The Sentinel, from the year 2002 to 2004. An executive editor of another English daily, the Eastern Chronicle, from 2008 to 2014. Mr. Laskar is also the founder of Capsport PR, which is in fact the very first PR agency of Northeast India. During his Guwahati, he was awarded the Biju Phukan Memorial Award in 2020 for his lifetime contribution in the field of public relations. In addition to being the chairperson of PRCI, Mr. Laskar is the visiting faculty to Cotton University, Guwahati, Assam, Rajiv Gandhi University, Arunachal Pradesh, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Northeast Campus, Aizawl, Mizoram, University of Science and Technology, Meghalaya, and Regional Institute of Science and Technology, Meghalaya. We welcome you, sir, and I'm sure my classmates and our patrons are eagerly waiting to hear from you next. Thank you so much.
Do I start right from here?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead. And we all are muting ourselves, and we are here, but just keeping video off, not to distract you.
Okay. Okay. Baharina Tanveer, thank you very much for the introduction. And all the top functionaries of Aliah University and all the participants from across the states of Eastern India. And I can see my friend Sheikh Adnan Fahad from Bangladesh. Most welcome from across the boundaries. Most welcome. So we'll probably listen to you also after some time. So as Muhammad Riaz has pointed out, this very program was planned long time back. But I think the coronavirus stood in the way. In between it came, and everything topsy-turvy, everything got delayed. But as they say, there say Aya Durust Aya, it is happening now, and I think it's going to happen well. We have risen to the occasion. The whole world is now moving ahead virtually, more virtually than real life. So we are also rising to the occasion, gearing ourselves to make our presence felt virtually. So without beating around the bush, we come to the topic. Today's topic is public relation, PR, in government and in private sector. So before we go to deliberate on the topic, let us have a very clear understanding of PR. The majority of the participants here would be familiar with what public relation is. But those who are newcomers for this term to this field, who are not fully initiated to public relation is, let us put it very briefly. We'll start with two quotations. The first quotation is from Warren Buffett, one of the richest persons of the world. Warren Buffett said, it needs 20 years to build a reputation, and it needs only 5 minutes to ruin it. It needs 20 years to build a reputation, and it requires only 5 minutes to ruin it. This is one quotation from Warren Buffett. The other quotation is from Bill Gates. Bill Gates said, if I am left with my last penny, I would spend it on public relation. If I am left with my last penny, I would spend it on public relation. So these two quotations show the importance of public relation in our day-to-day life, in the life of corporates, in the life of governments, in the lives of big organizations. So, what is public relation actually? Public relation is nothing but a process of image building. Not only building an image, building it, sustaining it, and protecting it from getting ruined, getting damaged. So it is the process of image building. What is image? For a student of physics, it is very easy to, explain what image is. The reflection you see in the mirror is your image. But image, when we refer to this term in relation to public relations, it is your, picture. It's your portrait which is viewed by the people, other people. The way people look at you, whether it's a good image, positive image, whether it is a bad image or a negative image. So through a public relation, we try to build a positive image. Now, what is the need for a positive image? You may ask, we do public relations to build an image, but why do we need an image? It's a good image that enables us to achieve our goals with great ease, without difficulty. If you wear a good image, you get support, you get cooperation, and your job gets done very easily. But if you've got a negative image, it becomes difficult for you to get your work done. I'll give you a simple example. Majority of the participants in today's webinar should be students. Now you see, in your classroom, if your image is good, you'll get special attention from your teachers. And in case of difficulty, suppose you are not well, you could not attend classes for 4 days or 5 days continuously. When you come back to the class and you want to know what went through, what happened during these 4 or 5 days, what classes did you miss, what notes you could not, take down, then you'll find, if you have a positive image, you will find, scores of other students who are coming forward to help you. Somebody will lend her note to you. Some other student will come and tell you these are the important subjects which are dealt with. So if you want any more suggestion, any more information from me, I am there to help you. But if your image is negative, you are not very friendly with your other class friends, classmates, then if you have missed classes, you may not be able to know what happened during this 4 or 5 days. So image plays a crucial role in wherever we are located. I have given you an example of classroom. It's true in our workstations. It is true at our homes, in our society, and in the neighborhood, and even in bigger platforms. So if you have a positive image, things become easy. This is true for organization and government departments. Now the term, public relation, the terminology, has 2 words. One is public, one is relation. So whether you are an individual, or you are an organization, or you are the peer head of an organization, you have to have very good liaison, very good communication, very good interaction, very good link with your publics. Now you will ask, what is publics? This word public is a collective noun. Normally in English grammar, any collective noun would not have, plural. Public is not used in plural. It is incorrect to say publics. But in public relations subject, we use public as a singular and publics as plural. So any organization must know its publics. And then only public relation and image building process becomes easy. Again, let's take one easy example at hand. We are being hosted by Aliah University today. Let's take the example of Aliah University. If Aliah University is bent on creating a positive image, I'm sure it already has. For example, I'm saying, suppose Aliah University wants to have a very strong positive image, the university must know its publics. Now, who are the publics of Aliah University? First, the students and the teachers. Then all the functional heads and administrative staff. And even other people who are closely connected with the university. They could be the service providers. They could be the education department people. They could be the security staff who give, provide security to the university and its premises, establishments. So these are the publics of Aliah University. And Aliah University, in order to have a positive image, must have good rapport, good understanding with its publics. It should study, make a survey, and find out what are the aspirations, expectations of these publics. Are they dissatisfied with our organization, with the university in any way? And if they are, how to resolve those issues? So knowing the public is very important. Public can be broadly divided into two categories, the internal public and the external public. Again, take for example the students. The students of Aliah University, they are on the rolls, on the registers of Aliah University. They pay fees and they must abide by the rules and regulations of Aliah University. Same applies to the teachers and all other staff, personnel who are on the establishment, on the payroll of the university. They must abide by the rules of the university. So they are the internal public. And dealing with them and doing public relation with them, will have different, type of activities, different tools. And those who are external public, say service providers, those who provide stationery, those who supply books to your library, they are not on your payrolls. They don't take salary from you, but they are connected to the university. They have aspirations. They have certain needs which need to be fulfilled by the university, and university should know their problems, their aspirations, whether they are, happy with the conduct of the university people, with them, how they deal with them when they come for business. So this should be known. So this is the reason for which there is a public relation department, there is a PRO. They are known by different names in different organizations. In some organization, it is a corporate communication officer, corporate communication manager. In hospitals, it could be guest relation officer. In a hospitality industry, it could be the floor manager. Anything. The designation may be different, but the purpose is to have a positive, communication system with our publics, so that we get to know them. They are able to communicate with us. The two-way traffic. Communication is a two-way traffic. There is a sender and a receiver. That I think every student of journalism and mass comm knows. So this communication system should be very strong, and public relation helps in that. So instead of making this deliberation of mine very monotonous, I discussed with Kaifia this morning, and we want to make it a little different and more interesting. In all the television programs, you have commercial breaks. Commercial breaks may be very repetitive, and many of us, we switch off the TV or we switch on to another channel during this commercial break. So we're not going to have any commercial break here, but we're going to have breaks from the monotony of the main speaker. And we're going to have breaks for value addition. We are very fortunate that today we have with us Anjuli Chittaranjan, a veteran of public relation. She has been the head of public relation portfolio in different pan-India organizations, one of the leading telecom service providers of the country. And today she is the region head of Reliance Jio Infocom in the northeastern region of India. So Anjali is here. So I'll request Anjali to unmute and please share your experience, the very rich experience you have in the field of public relation, in the corporate sector, in the private sector. I am sure you will be able to add a few very interesting anecdote or events from a personal experience. But I request you to be a little brief because our time is very limited. So over to you, Anjali. After you finish, we will again resume back to our topic, main topic. Anjali.
A very good
Anjali.
afternoon. Can you hear me? I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah, a very good afternoon to all my dear friends present here today, and a special wish to Mr. Nurul Laskar, who has got me here today. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. It's not very often that in these pandemic times we can exchange notes like this, because all of us are busy with our work, and it's difficult to meet people. So it's such a pleasure to even see your face, Nurul, and to see the face of some of these youngsters, while we've been prevented from seeing faces of most of the people here, but I'm sure that you can see my face. So thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a privilege. It's really a privilege, and I'm so happy. And let me wish you a very, very productive and happy week ahead, because this is a nice Monday afternoon. And I'm here in Guwahati enjoying the beautiful weather. I hope you all are safe and your families are safe. Wishing you a very, very safe pandemic time till we all tide over this together. And during this time, I think a very important factor is communications. So coming to the topic of public relations and communications are very, very intertwined. They're very close. They go hand in hand, because for public to reach any message or to get some information, it's through a communication channel. So as Nurul just mentioned about, people may be called communicators, they may be called, by other nomenclature, but what they're doing basically is they're communicating. So there's a two-way communication, whether it is with the public, any of the public which he's just mentioned about. And as you will realize that we are all social beings. The minute we are born, we are not alone. We have people around us, we have a whole lot of community around us, we have society around us. So that's what makes life so interesting and makes us social beings. Because we are social beings, there is a need to communicate. There's a need to interact with each other, and there's a need to interact with society. And society comprises of a whole lot of little pockets of people, organizations, a whole lot of things which we need to communicate. As an organization, also, we have the same need to communicate to the internal and external environment. So the internal part of it, we put it under internal communications, and the external part of it, we put it under external communications or corporate communications. In other words, communicating on behalf of the corporate or for the corporate. So that's in a nutshell what we corporate communications people have to do. But there is a whole lot. It's a huge field. It's a vast field, and I've been already asked to make it a little short. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a few of my learnings, a few of my opportunities which I had. So as a corporate communications person, I have worked only in the private sector. My journey has been mainly in the cement industry, where I started in Meghalaya. I was in the mining industry in Meghalaya, after which I joined the cement industry. And then I have a long innings in the telecom industry, and I'm still with the telecom industry with the latest technology provider. So having said that, communications is such an important task which is assigned to a person or to a department. But what communications we do is actually dependent on us. So as students of this subject, you will be very happy to know that a lot depends on you. So it depends on you what you make of this subject, how you put forward your skills, your knowledge, and you do it for the benefit of the organization for which you work, in return for a salary and much more that you get. So, communications basically, it is an opportunity for you to interact with other human beings. Thanks to my job and this communications that I do, I'm here present with all of you today. This goes back to our relationship, which Nurul and I share right from many, many years ago, but officially from 2005, I suppose. So with that comes this opportunity. So just look at this, 2005 to 2021. I'm still reaping the benefits. I'm still having these opportunities of because of the job that I do. So as a corporate communicator in the private sector, I will not talk about the public sector and the government because I don't have experience in that. But in the private sector, what the private sector, there are plus and minus of this job. There's a lot that you have to put in and there's a lot that you get. So I'll just touch on maybe two topics. One is what it is that the challenges that you will face, the kind of expectations. So when I use the word expectations, it is what people want from you, desire from you, expect from you. Now that expectation has become actually a whole subject now. It's called expectation management. How do you manage expectations of people? How do you manage expectations of society? So expectation management is become another wing of corporate communications, and expectation management is a very challenging task because it entails a lot. People have all kinds of expectations in return for what they're doing for you. So let me give you a small example. When you are interacting with the media, for example, in your job, you will definitely be doing that. You will need to fulfill the expectations of the person on the other side for them to help you. Sometimes the expectation may be of information, expectation may be of some gift, expectation may be of some sort of gratification, expectation may be of you giving them some help, you imparting some knowledge, you providing some platform to them. It may be an expectation that you give a job to some of their relatives. So there are all kinds of expectations you have to handle. And this is one of a challenging tasks which a corporate communications person has to handle and face. So I'm just touching on that one, which we have had to manage, and we have to manage it successfully so that we keep the oil of our machine well geared. Now coming to the opportunities and the positive part of it, of this job, I think the biggest positive which you will get is that you have a platform at all times, 24 hours, to do what you want, to be productive, to contribute as a positive person in society. You get opportunities to help yourself in various capacities. I'll just give you an example. When I worked for almost 10 years with Bharti Airtel, Nurul and I worked together. That's why I'm taking that example and not my current job's example. So in that job, the opportunities that I got, looking back, is mind-boggling. Whether it is your interactions with the government, whether it is your interactions with NGOs, educational departments, educational institutes, whether it is with clubs, whether it is with cultural celebrities, whether it is with sports personalities, whether it is with teachers, it could be your clientele, your public is very varied. So it gives you a fantastic canvas to paint on. And that canvas basically provides you an opportunity of an interaction, of learning. It's not just doing a job. Let me give you an example. When in Guwahati, we have a beautiful Kamakhya temple, and everybody likes to come and take blessings of Ma Kamakhya, and we have a beautiful festival which takes place. And that Kamakhya temple used to host a cultural festival where the likes of Sonal Mansingh, Pandit Ravi Shankar, all the cultural biggies, the dancers, the singers, the artists used to come and perform in the backdrop of the Kamakhya. You can just visualize it, how beautiful it was. And there, in the middle of that security, in the middle of that pious sanctity, you as an individual get this opportunity to be there, to be a part of that program, to listen to that music, to see that dance, to partake in that event. And you don't even feel you're doing a job. Basically, you're enjoying yourself at a lovely event. So those are the kind of opportunities you get, whether it is meeting Gautam Gambhir because of some cricket match and you're a sponsor, or whether it is the flutist who comes and signs you a beautiful autograph, you will get multiple opportunities. So my dear friends, you're in the right field. Corporate communications is a huge canvas, a beautiful canvas. Paint the colors of the rainbow, enjoy the opportunities that it's going to give you. And whether it's the private sector, public sector, government, this opportunity exists for all of us. It's how you help yourself. And as Nurul told you about how important public relations is, he also, if you note, took the examples of people from the corporate world, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, And whether it is the corporate world or the non-corporate world, the examples are plenty, opportunities are amazing, and I wish you all the best and hope that you will go into great heights and touch the skies. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Anjali, thanks a lot. It was just wonderful listening to you, and you being such a busy, executive. I don't know whether you'll be able to stay all through this session. Even if you don't stay all through, I hope you'll come towards the end so that one or two questions may be put to you and you can answer. Just try and find out if it is possible.
I will try that.
And Anjali, you brought so many, very golden memories of our working together. You mentioned about, those bright moments in the life of a PR or corporate communication head. I remember Rangali Bihu is the major festival of Assam, and you were with Airtel at that time, and you had made a very comprehensive plan. Just to put it in a nutshell, you had selected Snehalaya, one of the shelters which takes care of orphans and destitute. And all these kids were given, new dress for the festival by Airtel. And I, being the PR consultant there, we had gone to that Snehalaya 1 week in advance with a tailor who took measurement, stitched new clothes. And to cut the long story short, on the day of Bihu, all the youngsters were taken to Raj Bhavan. They met the governor. After that, they came to the Airtel corporate office where film stars came, and they said with these kids, they had lunch together. I mean, these kids must be remembering this event all through their life. And for us, it was a moment of great satisfaction. So it is not all, glamour and publicity, but, fulfillment of doing something which gives you immense joy, right?
Very meaningful. Very
Right.
meaningful.
So
Wonderful memories.
right. So these are the actually very, very, subtle moments of public relation which cannot be measured by money. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Anjali, once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the participants got a glimpse of, the different aspects of corporate communication and public relation in the private sector from Anjuli Chittaranjan, who has served for decades in the top ranking corporates of India. And now we will talk briefly about, the position of public relation in the government. Especially in India, the beginning of public relation in government started with the public sector undertakings. Just after independence, massive public sector undertakings like the Steel Authority of India, then NHPC, National Hydropower Corporation, NALCO, then the Airport Authority of India, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, all these organizations came up and they actually set up their own public relation wings, which can be termed the beginning of public relation. Later on, the government also realized that it needs to gear up its image so that it can have a better rapport with the people. So under the Ministry of INB, Information and Broadcasting, different wings and different departments were worked out. So it is always better to hear from a veteran in this field. And I will go to Mr. L.R. Sailo on this. And you will be asking me, who is L.R. Sailo? Mr. L.R. Sailo is like the living directory of public relation in the eastern part of India. He has been twice honored by the Public Relation Council of India for his lifetime contribution to public relation. And he holds a unique record, probably unparalleled by anybody else in his field. He has served as the Director of Information and Public Relation with 4 different chief ministers of Mizoram belonging to different parties, even rival parties, which shows that as a PR person, his services have been such unquestionable and unrivaled that irrespective of the change of government, the chief minister, change of party, they have unquestioningly retained him as the head of the director as the head of the IPR department. And furthermore, it is LR Sailo who worked day and night for the establishment of the Northeast campus of Indian Institute of Mass Communication, IIMC, which is a premier organization. They have, I think, only 5 campuses across the country. And presently, LR Sailo is the director of the Northeast campus of IIMC. So over to Ruatliana Sailo to give us a picture of PR in government, enriched with 1 or 2 experiences, but please be brief because we have to adhere to the time schedule. LR Sailo.
All right, good afternoon to you all. And I must thank Laskar for bringing me into this discussion. I think you have just seen the PR in practice. He had used as a commercial break and ads in between. So I will try to be very brief because ads and commercial break doesn't have to be long. As they said, a speech in order to be eternal doesn't have to be everlasting. I've been in public relations for almost all my career, and even today. We started together in Shillong with Laskar in our own small way before even we entered service. He was the first man to interview me when I returned from abroad, and also he used to write for Shillong Times and he wrote about me and all that. That is our association with it. And then he came to Mizoram as a bank officer, and then on we've been in touch in the media even after he left the state bank. So that is all I have to say about this thing. I have public relations I did not know whether I would be doing all these things when I joined service, much against the wishes of my parents. I joined the service. It was a time of insurgency. So they did not allow me because the life was in danger to be a public relations officer, or that time they call it publicity officer also. So basically we were in between what shall we say, between the security forces and the MNF, and so we are in the middle in the government. But as I progressed in career, I enjoyed every bit of my profession, and but the public relation is, I think, more of a performance, as previous speaker said. Any government or organizations, if it doesn't perform well, it cannot have a good public relations. So it's 99% is performance. So public relations to me is performance. Basically in government, we are agency used for dissemination of information, government policies and its achievements. And besides that, we are also an agency which gives a feedback to the government on which the government will make its policies. This is a very important role of public relations. And this is what we have been doing. Sometimes it is pleasant, sometimes it is not so pleasant. Many people misunderstand what public relation is, because some of us in the profession are being abused, or we abuse the profession of man pleasing and things like that. So the public relations, even in the government, tends to turn, or there is a temptation to become the voice of VIPs only and not of the public. This is the dangers in government public relations, which I'd like to mention. But there are many other experiences that I can talk about, but this is not time. And all that I want to say is that for you, young aspirants in mass communication, you have better tools for public relations than we had in those days. In our time when I began, the only way of making announcements was a big horn and a microphone amplifier, which we carry on the jeep and the vehicle, announce in different places. And then, of course, the radio was another thing. There were no televisions. But today, there are different tools of public relations you can use, that is the social media, which in fact become more dangerous in one way or the other, that the government is trying to control it. But if we use it wisely and tactfully, these are very important tools of public relations. There are many things which we can go about, but I will not say much. But if you are now aspiring to become or involved in public relations, whether in corporate or in government, you will not regret it. For me, it's like a religion. I've enjoyed every bit of it. And public relation is also part of event management, which I think you will welcome. And there are a lot of opportunities these days in public relations field as far as the career is concerned. So I have not regretted one moment to be in this profession. And as I said, we began together with Laskar almost, I think, over 50 years. Now we are in association. And,
It's 50 years.
50 years, yes, exactly. So that's how we began. I think he had not regretted having left the State Bank of India and get involved in this teaching. I too had never thought, I thought I'd be a teacher in school and colleges, but in the later part of my career, that is when I retired, I was employed as a press secretary to the Chief Minister for another 10 years. Along with that, I was also invited to start the Indian Institute of Mass Communication in Aizawl. We began in 2011. Until today, we had students from across the country. Unfortunately, I'd just like to mention, I have very few students from the eastern part of the country. I had one or two students from Arunachal, one Assam, and one Calcutta, and then one from Bihar, but very few come. I would like to invite some of you after you finish your courses to start with, at least for the brand, you come to Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and it is not difficult to get through in this thing. There's only a holiday entrance exam you have to go through. And even if you are already a postgraduate, but for your career, it may be good to join us for a year for your added value. So I wish every student a very successful future. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to come to Mizoram, interact with the people here. And I think, although let us hope for better times when you can meet properly in person. That is all that I have to say today. Thank you very much. And it's a privilege to be with you all.
Thank you, Elder Sailo, for sparing your valuable time. You are a very busy person, because I know it very well. If nobody,
I'm at home all the time nowadays.
He is embodiment of good public relation practice. Like in his time as a Director of Information and Public Relation, the head of public relation of a state like Mizoram, he has worked wonderfully well, successfully, and especially I still remember the calendars, the state calendars he used to bring out at the beginning of the year. They were in great demand. He would get the best photographer to come, then work out the theme, travel together to remote parts of Mizoram, and the end product would be something breathtakingly beautiful. Of course, the days have changed. Probably now we don't need a wall calendar because we can have our calendar in our mobile. But with changing times, the needs are different, but needs are there. So a PR person, whether in government or in private sector, there's still a lot of things to do. Now, most of all,
just one remark I'd just like to put in. Now we talk of press relations, public relations, press relations is a very important part of public relations because we have to disseminate information through the media. Now people talk of controlling, cultivating the press and media person. But today we use the word facilitate. I think if we facilitate, help the journalists with the material that they need and access and travel That is where we can do. We cannot really control the press, nor, I think, cultivating, that's a bad word. I don't, that is against the respect of a person. So I think what we should do with the press is that we must facilitate them in their work. That is the secret of public relations that I'd like to share with you this afternoon.
Now, we got a glimpse of what PR is in private sector from Anjuli Chittaranjan, then about government sector, public sector from LR Sailo to veterans. Now let's go to a youngster, because I think majority of the participants are youngster. Now I am talking about Subhankar Banerjee. I'm sure he's present there. He, I got to know him as a student. He was a student of Assam University Journalism and Mass Comm department, and he had attended a crash course in which I was a resource person. And why I am talking about Subhankar, he could be a role model for all the youngsters who are in different stages of journalism, mass comm education, doing your courses in the colleges and universities. Now, Subhankar completed his postgraduate in mass comm, did a crash course. Then he left the Northeast, went to Bombay, went to Delhi, worked with some pan-India PR agencies. Then he decided enough was enough. He wanted to come back home. He came back to Guwahati, started his own PR agency at a very young age, the Seven Sense Communication. And after that, there has been no looking back. Today, he is the General Secretary of Public Relations Council of India, Guwahati Chapter, and he is also the Director of Young Communicators Club promoted by PRCI Guwahati. And about 100 youngsters who are in different media courses look towards him for guidance and leadership so that they can emerge as successful practitioners in public relations. So Subhankar, you can give very useful tips from your own experience to the youngsters. So over to you, Subhankar.
Yeah, thank you, Laskar sir. It was great listening to Laskar sir this morning, Anjuli Chittaranjan ma'am, Sailo sir as well. First of all, I would like to thank Aliah University for this wonderful initiative of holding a webinar on government and public sectors, public relations. I don't know where to start from because already Laskar sir and Anjali ma'am has already completed most of the topics. So to be small and precise, I would say that I will talk on three different topics. One is why public relations is important in government sectors. And secondly, how digital media is making a big influence in public relations these days. And thirdly, the why and how government public relations can outsource their works to private agencies. So talking for the first topic, which is importance of public relations in government sector. You see, there are many government sectors, but generally most sector do not have a proper public relation officer or maybe a media manager. That becomes really difficult for people to go and interact with someone into that department. In that case, a good public relations officer can solve most of the problem. Why it is important? Now, public relations officer can generally do the image building process for their organization. They will also look into the better media relations opportunities. And how public relation is a public relation person is important. See, a public relation person will always work as a lobbyist, will always work as a journalist, and always work as a lawyer for that particular organization. They will always give you necessary tips in case of crisis management, in case of image building exercises every time. Now see how digital, I would like to talk about digital PR because I can see most of the youngsters here present from Aliah University are very well accustomed with social media. Like I'm sure you people use Facebook and Instagram for your personal profile. So nowadays it's been a trend where we also use social media profile for any government officials. For example, if I talk about Indigo, if you book a ticket and you want to reschedule your flight, okay, the best way to reach out to Indigo is just go to Twitter and tweet something, tagging to Indigo. And when you get a response from Indigo, That means Indigo is having a proper online reputation management team and a good public relation team who interacts with public on very quick basis. They do not waste time. They initially they will reply within 5 minutes, and you that will put a very positive impact on your brand. In that case, I would also request all these students to start using LinkedIn, start using Facebook pages, Instagram, Twitters for your personal profile, which will also not only help in your personal growth, it will also help to get in touch with people, build networks and everything. And outsourcing responsibilities in public relations is also important. Now see, the topic is PR in government and private sector. So in private sector, public relations is different in every, it depends on places as well. See what, as a public relation consultant in Delhi and Mumbai, what they work, it is different in comparison to cities like Guwahati and Kolkata. And again, if you go to smaller cities and sea-town cities like, say, Patna, or maybe, say in Assam, if I talk about Dibrugarh or Jorhat or other sea-town cities, it is different. City-wise, the roles and responsibility of a PRO will change. And so that is also the case in case of government sectors as well. See, in small, suppose your district administration, if you talk about district administration, they might not have a proper PRO. Okay, so in that case, private agencies can help the district administration to build their images. So here the roles of outsourcing public relations comes into play. So how it helps others, you know, see, as a student of journalism and mass communication, we have lots of field to work in. So we have like people can choose journalism as a career either in print or TV. They can also go for advertisement. They can also go for production. In case of public relations, there are multiple things as well. Somebody who is very accustomed to writing, they can be a content writer as well. So you have a professional setup in any public relation body, and that is how the governments can take help from private sectors. This is what I mean. So now I would also love to take a few questions from students regarding public relations if you are interested and want to know how to grow in these cases.
Subhankar,
Yes, sir.
We'll keep the questions towards the end.
Yeah.
I think another one or two people would like to give their viewpoints on a few topics which are left out. So we'll come back to you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
I'd conclude after a few minutes, but here I'll be failing in my duty if I don't introduce to you one very special guest, Sheikh Adnan Fahad, who teaches journalism in the School of Journalism in Jahangirnagar University in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I have had the great privilege of meeting him 1 year, little more than a year ago. Visited the university, very impressive university. I don't know whether he will be interested to talk about public relation at this moment, but I'm sure he will tell us a little bit about his beautiful university, and he can probably invite those of us who are interested to visit his university. So Adnan Bhai, it is over to you. Adnan Fahad.
Sir, sir, we can't hear you.
Please unmute.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And let me make it clear that I don't want to ruin this webinar talking on PR because I was never a person of PR in my career. You can tell me a journalist, a teacher, of course, but not a public relations course. But in this webinar, in this opportunity, I would like to express my love and respect and my emotion to India, the Indian people. To be very frankly, I have good connections with Indian people, with Tripura. Assam, West Bengal, and through digital and television media, I have good emotional connection with New Delhi, Mumbai also. So I would like to express my love and respect to all of you. I was listening to Mr. Nurul Laskar Bhai. I call him Bhai Jan, as I think he's my elder. He's like my elder brother, and it was a great opportunity to have a relations with such a nice personality. And I also admire him as a symbol of love. Symbol of love. I always follow him in the social media, particularly in the Facebook, with his family members. If you want to hear something from me about public relations in Bangladesh, then I will obviously say some words. I will also make some comments. Now, can I start now about public relations practices in Bangladesh? You are muted.
Briefly, you can give your views right now.
Okay. I'm making it clear again that I'm not a person of public relations, but now I'm holding the position of chairperson or head of the Department of Journalism and Media Studies. My department's name is Media Journalism and Media Studies of Jahangirnagar University. I hope you have heard about the name Jahangirnagar University. If you go through the internet, then you would find our websites. And but I studied in the department of Dhaka University. Dhaka University, you must know the name Dhaka University. It was founded in 1921. A very reputed educational institution, and of course Jahangirnagar University, particularly more younger department. We have started this department back in 2011 and 12 session, and in all departments of journalism in all public and private universities in Bangladesh, this course is an compulsory course, public relations course. And obviously, we offer classes, courses, we conduct examinations. Students come, and every year they leave the university with their certificates. And obviously, there are public relations offices in the government and private enterprises. But I think there are some issues must be addressed in Bangladesh regarding improving quality of public relations in Bangladesh. And I hope and I believe that Nurul Laskar Bhaijan has much more clear concept about PR practices in Bangladesh, because he is very well-known person in Bangladesh also. And last year when he came to visit Bangladesh, he came to attend I think a conference, international conference on PR in Bangladesh. And I had that great opportunity to start to have this nice relation with Nurul Laskar Bhaijan. So I thank again. In Bangladesh, Bangladesh is such a country now which is having nearly about 7% of growth rate steadily. This country is doing very well regarding economic progresses, and obviously India is one of the most important development partners of Bangladesh. And in this phenomena, there are so many university students, not only from journalism department, they are from various departments. They are doing they are seeking jobs of public relations officers in government and non-government agencies. Regarding government public relations practices, I want to ask a question to Nurul Laskar, and I cannot mention the name of that sir who is from Meghalaya, who is vast experience on government offices. He acted as a government officer in public relations. I want to ask a question: how it is difficult for a public relations officer to maintain relations, effective and fruitful relations with the people from the mass media, being a government officer or a public relations officer from a private enterprises. So I think I should not talk much more about our PR now. I don't want to ruin this webinar because I already made it clear that I'm not person of a PR sector. I hope such webinar will be arranged on regular basis in the days ahead. And thanks to Corona pandemic also, Corona pandemic has empowered us with these digital platforms, and it is like a miracle. In the last 1 year, we have attended so many webinars using the technological advancement. So thank you again, Aliah University. I have a strong desire to come to your campus, and I am inviting you all to our beautiful country, to our beautiful campus as an ambassador. Like I think myself as an ambassador of my country, of my university, and I feel India so close to me. You guys love from Bangladesh, and you all are invited to our capital city Dhaka, and of course Jahangirnagar University. Bhaijan, I don't want to speak more now in this on this topic. So I have a question to you, and of course to Sir from Meghalaya, about the role of PR officers in handling journalists of different media. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adnan.
Thank you.
Your question, I don't know whether we'll have enough time to deal with it, but your question has given me one idea, which I am throwing to Aliah University, who are the host of today's program. Can't we, at a later period, have a video call and make a panel of about 8-10 universities? Already today we have got Jahangirnagar University, we have got Assam University representative here. Then similarly, this Rajiv Gandhi University or Arunachal Pradesh is here. If we have a panel of about 10 universities, we can have periodical webinars on public relation related topics, because the question which Adnan has put up, it is about media relation, which is very important, and it cannot be dealt with in just few minutes, but we'll try to address it very briefly. But my suggestion is that we may meet, that also Adnan has proposed, once in a while, every quarter or every 2 months, we can have a webinar with specific topic. Like this time it is PR in government and public sector. Next time it could be public relation and media. Okay.
Of course.
And Adnan started talking about my visit to Bangladesh and his love for me. Now this takes me to another aspect of public relation. It is called celebrity management. Many of the celebrities, sports stars, politicians, movie stars, people like Salman Khan, Sania Mirza, they take help of celebrity managers. They pay a huge sum of money to manage their image. But one thing I am sure, if I go to Bangladesh, I don't have to spend any money for my image management. Adnan is there. He's already started doing it free of cost. Thank you very much for that. Thank you,
Yes.
Adnan. Welcome.
You deserve it, sir. You deserve it, sir. My salute to you.
Thank you very much. We have got one participant from a very distant corner of India. She is Teli Yami Taku. She teaches journalism, advertising and public relation in the Rajiv Gandhi University of Arunachal Pradesh. I had requested her to speak, but she said, I am a newcomer in this field, so I would not like to speak. But this thing, Teli Taku, can I just request you to speak for a minute about Arunachal Pradesh? Please do some public relation for Arunachal Pradesh. Tell all the participants how beautiful is your land.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And a very good afternoon to all of you. Like sir said, sir has already mentioned, I am not very familiar with PR and advertising, but then I've been given the subject to teach to my students this year. That's why I was trying to contact sir, and like when I saw the the topic of this webinar, it was like something that my students should be aware of, I thought, and I would always love to be a part of this webinar itself. So I requested sir to actually asking him if we could join, and then sir had asked me to speak something about PR and advertising, which I am like very, very new to it. But then when we talk about PR, like as we know, basically without wasting time, PR is basically building relationship. Everyone has been saying that, and that is what PR is. So when we talk about government and private sectors, since Arunachal, and it's very new. I mean, if I'm not wrong, it's new to the northeast part of India, PR, and the section here, people are not very aware. The only thing that we know is the government jobs for PR people, and in private sectors, it's very limited. And since we don't have much, big companies coming in into northeast and like all this stuff. So PR has. Is important, yes, very important in everything. Like we say that everything that we do individually is also PR basically. The way we dress up, the way we talk to other to have that impression is PR basically, what we do every day. So I thought this topic was very important, so I wanted to join. And then I asked my students, some of them are here, so I would just without saying much, because I don't have much knowledge about it, I just would like to put in actually my query or question, as in to my students, especially for my students. And what is the scope of PR when we talk? Like everyone is saying that government PR does this and does that, but and PR in private sector does this and does that. Yes, we are like very. And after listening to our resource person here, it is very encouraging for my students. I am sure about that. But then, what are the how do we get into PR basically? Yes, studies are there. We have courses. We have institutions providing PR courses and teaching us PR. But then, how an individual after the studies get into PR, especially government jobs are high, but then private sectors, how do we build that image, that connection, that is obviously individual ability or your own aap kaise karoge, but then how do we do that? That is, and especially in Arunachal, where we don't have much of industrialization here. So how do I ask my students, especially, you have to get into PR. PR is good. How do I tell them? That is my question to you. Back to you, sir. And thank you so much, sir. I am sorry, I'm not really prepared for this, but then thank you so much for this opportunity. And it is indeed my pleasure to be with you all. It is my privilege to be with you all. Thank you so much, sir. Back to you.
Thank you, Yami, for taking part from that distant part of India on the boundaries of China. Thank you very much. Now, Adnan had mentioned about media relation, and I told it will need a whole webinar to deal with it. Similarly, Yami Teli's proposal about jobs in public relation in government and in private sector will need probably another session. We can organize a webinar. Let me tell you that there is a service called Indian Information Service, IIS. So young students who have a media journalism background can prepare for the Indian Information Service. And through Indian Information Service, they can get a placement in different departments under the Ministry of INB and maybe in other departments also as spokespersons, as PROs. So we'll deal with it in another webinar. And fortunately for us, the Public Relations Council of India is now giving a lot of stress on facilitating internship, on-the-job training, and also putting the youngsters, young graduates, young postgraduates in touch with prospective employers. So all the updated information will be shared with our participants on an ongoing basis. So the scope is not limited only to public relation. Public relation has a vast domain. There may be 50 to 100 service providers to public relation, right from the still cameraman to videographer, from people who are event managers to people who are printers, even the gift suppliers, those who make gifts. They can by themselves can be big player in the field of public relations. There is no government department, no private sector undertaking or corporate house which does not need gifts, be it festival time, Diwali, Christmas, New Year, be it New Year, diaries, calendars, other utility gifts. Then your telecom service providers, banks, insurance companies, they are always selecting their top customers and sending gifts to their offices, to their homes. So gifting itself is a big part of public relation. Just one example. There is crisis management, then there is retention management. So all this can be discussed in details in future webinars, and we will do that. Now I'll go back to the hosts, to Mohammad Riaz and Kaifia Ansa, so that they can take this webinar further to the extent possible before we have the question answers, and we will probably end it soon again. Thanks.
Thank you for such an erudite session, sir. I did not actually expect that it to be so lively and happening kind of a thing. And I am sure my students and the participants who have joined today are thrilled to come across various versions of public relation and corporate communication practice, both in public sector as well as private sector, coming out from people who are actually doing the job there. And it is going to be an enriching session for them. Without wasting much time, I would now, I think we can go on for the interaction session, because that I think will take another a huge lot of time, because the students and the participants will have a lot of questions that they need their answers. So Rubina, a student from MA Journalism and Mass Communication, will do the moderation of the question and answer session. So I think that will be fine, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
That
So
will be
Rubina,
fine.
okay. So Rubina, you can take it further from there.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to everyone present here. My name is Rubina Nisar, and I'm a student at Aliah University from the Journalism Department. With due respect, I would request all the participants present here to present any questions that they have towards esteemed speakers. So the first question that we have is from one of my classmates, Sohidur Rahman. And his question is, what is the basic difference between public and private public relations?
What is the basic difference between
Public and private public relations?
Fine. I think it would not need a very elaborate answer. We have two sectors in the affairs of the country. The public sector is the government, and with all its government departments and public sector undertakings, any organization that is run by the government. And private sector is mostly the corporates, the industries, and whatever is not controlled totally 100% by the government. They are in private hands. So their goals, their objectives, and their needs are different. So the public relations of the government is handled by, in India, it is handled by departments like, on top we have the Ministry of INB, Information and Broadcasting, under which we have got PIB, Press Information Bureau. We have got the Song and Drama Division. Under Prasar Bharati, we have got Doordarshan, that is television. Then we have got Akashvani, or All India Radio, and there are a few other Directorate of Field Publicity who organize exhibitions on different themes like Bharat Nirman, etc. And in corporate, the public relation is different. Even though the main goal is to promote business, most of the corporates in private, they are doing what? Either service or product. Product could be any of the items which is used by the people. They buy it from the market. These are products. And there could be services like banking, insurance, etc. So whichever organizations are in this kind of business, they would want to improve their clientele, their customer base. So they will take up their public relation to benefit their objectives. But in recent times, there is a realization that just profit cannot be the goal of a good corporate. They must also do a lot of public good, and that is the concept of CSR, corporate social responsibility, has come, and that is why you will see, soft drink manufacturer, banks, then telecom providers are now opening up school in rural areas, or doing a health checkup camp, or giving scholarship to poor students to study further. So this will, I'm sure, make it clear to you the basic difference between government PR and private sector PR. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope the answer was okay for Tawhidul Rahman. Your answer has been given, and now I would request one of my classmates. She also has a question. I would request Baharina Tanveer to ask a question directly to sir, and also we will be taking 10 questions maximum. So please make it brief. Over to you, Baharina.
Yes. Hi, sir. So my question to you is when a crisis takes place, is it wise for the PR team to admit to the mistake rather than categorically denying it?
If a crisis takes place, will it be proper for the department or the organization concerned to admit the mistake or admit the fault, or find a via media and avoid it? Is it?
Yes, sir.
This is the question. Now, Anjali, are you there? Anjuli Chittaranjan, are you there?
Sir, Anjali ma'am has texted. She had to leave. So I think
Anjali has left. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I think I will switch it over to Subhankar.
Yes, I'm there.
Mistake or
Yeah. So basically, yes, I'll just read out the question again. When a crisis...
excuse me, why I have directed this question to Subhankar? Because Subhankar is at this moment, he's dealing with such cases. Many such cases have come to him, he's dealing with it. So he's better equipped to answer this.
Yes, okay. Yes, definitely. Yes, that we should always deal with the truth. Okay. The basic example for here is not only related to public relations, relating to anything. There is a saying that if you hide a truth, you will have to defend that with many lies. So it is always like good that you do not deny the fact, but you will also have to do something that you cannot directly say that I don't know. Suppose you are facing the media, and if a journalist asks you some question, you cannot say that I don't want to answer, I don't know, or I will not give any response. That is not how you deal with the media. You will have to very humbly and politely, you will have to give a response that okay, I don't know about this, but I will learn it from my management and get back to you. This is how you will have to answer to the media. And it is very important for you to speak the truth only, because if you hide something from the media and media comes to know later on, it will be a bigger crisis for you later on. So categorically, you don't deny your mistake directly, but always speak the truth.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for answering my question.
Thank you so much, Nurul sir and Subhankar sir. Now we have the next question from Sharmila Shaha Roy. I would request Sharmila Shaha to please ask your question.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. I am ex-student of Aliah University, and my question is, there are many tools for peer, but how to choose the appropriate peer tool in accordance with the situation? Sir, it will be better to understand with an example, sir.
Okay. What are the tools to be used? Okay, I think the tools to be used for public relation are too many. You have got the media, you've got the print media, electronic media, social media.
So not not only about the tools, it's about how to choose the appropriate tools in accordance with any situation.
No, that's what I'm just giving you the prelude to my answer. So there are so many tools to choose from. So it will depend. It will depend about who are your target groups. Okay. If you have to address some people who are probably, who are probably working in the railway platform, say the porters and the manual workers in the railway platform, you want to reach a message to them, then you cannot bring a personality like APJ Abdul Kalam there. You have to bring somebody like Lallu Prasad, because he can immediately connect with them. With his kind of play, they will be receptive. If you're now,
Yes,
can you
sir.
hear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was
sir.
disconnected for a few moments. So it depends on your clientele. And if you are trying to reach a public relation message to a rural area, probably you have to use visuals or audio instead of the written word, because a vast majority of the recipients may be illiterate. They may not be familiar with the printed word or the written word. They will only be able to receive it if it is audible or if it is visible. So it will always depend on who your target group is. Otherwise, there will be a noise, a break in the communication system.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Now we have one more question from Anchor Tuhil. So I would request you to please ask your question directly.
Good afternoon, sir and ma'am. I'm from Museum Memorial College Public Relations. So my question is how digital marketing is really enhancing public relations today.
Digital marketing is enhancing PR. Is it?
Yes, sir. Is it, sir?
So exactly this is a point blank question for Subhankar Banerjee, who is dealing with digital public relations. Subhankar, once again.
Yes, this is basically a very good question, because if you look at the journalism point of view or public relations point of view, we have categorically divided things into two parts. One is traditional and other is digital. So if you look at digital public relations, we have really adopted digital marketing as a part of our as a part of public relations family as a whole. So if you look at digital marketing aspects, in a public relations agency nowadays, we do social media marketing, we do search engine optimization, we do all kind of things that help the clients and brands to reach to the potential audience digitally. So digital marketing is one of the key factors in today's public relations, and we go hand in hand with both digital and traditional methods. And to be precise, examples like social media marketing, affiliate marketings, or these are some of the key things that we keep in our mind. Same goes to journalism as well. If we don't prefer print media, we go for a digital platform, online news portals and everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhankar.
Thank you, sir. I hope you are satisfied with the answer. Now we are moving to the next question. That will be the last question for today. And that is from one of my classmates, Mahayat Bintinur. Will you please ask a question to sir? Over to you, Mahayat.
Yes, sir. What is the most powerful contribution that a public relation can bring in an organization?
what is the most powerful contribution public relation can bring to an organization?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Sir.
I think I'll partly answer this and leave it to the veteran Ruat Liana to sum it up. So Ruat Liana, Sailo, I'll just say one or two sentences, you conclude it. Now you see, public relation is there for giving a good and strong image to the organization or to the individual for which it is working. So if a person or an organization does not have good public relation, this organization is not going to last for very long. This is my view. You need public relation. It is one of the pillars of your success and your longevity. Now over to Ruat Liana Sailo. The question is, what is the major contribution that PR can do to an organization?
Very much. I think I had the privilege of serving the government in Mizoram, which lasts all of them for 10 years. I think this is a reflection of what the public relation does to the government also, to a great extent. But in order for a public relations department, the government also has to perform well, because it is in their performing only that we are able to do. It is not that the public relation is a magician or something who can make blackboard white. This is not so, but it's a performing. But in performing, we can enhance the efficiency of the government a lot through our expertise, tools of public relations as you have just mentioned. And this is what I have seen in the government right from the time of insurgency. You know, insurgency is where dissatisfied people rebel against the government and they went into a violence. Now, in such a situation, what did we do? We had to wean the youth away from violence, the futility of violence, the futility of fighting against the great government like India that they cannot do, how futile it is. So then comes peacetime. When the peace comes, I think the government has a role in development, in inviting the participations of the people. And in that, again, the public relations department has to disseminate the policies of the government and also, and thereby register the participations of the public. And in order to sustain that government, we have to inform the government, the public, the performance of the government. Now, besides that, I think the role of a public relation is to give a feedback to the government so that it knows where it goes wrong and rectify. So public relations, in fact, serve not us only a department which disseminate information, but also which gives feedback. It's like an oxygen that you need so much. You breathe in and you breathe out. This is what public relation is, as one of our colleagues used to say. So I think this is a very important part of it. And again, I'd like to mention again that although public relation is very much misunderstood, we can make it today a respectable profession. That what we need, that is, we must take a pride in being in public relations. And it has, to a great extent so, the public relations in corporate as well as in the government has gained respect of the people. It is all we who are in it have to make it, and especially those of you who will be having a mass communication background will be much in a better position to do this. When we enter service, we did not know what public relation, what mass media is even. So that is how the recruitment used to be done. Unfortunately, some government in their advertisement for the job have not yet put a clause that preference will be given for those who have got diploma or graduation or master degree in public relations or, for that matter, mass communication. I think we must demand, in whatever stage we are, this clause so that you people who are aspiring and doing the mass communication, struggling hard, be given preference for this kind of a job. That's, I think, what I can say finally. And it's been very, very useful, active discussion that we have. I'm grateful to Mr. Laskar and others who have involved me in this. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you today.
Thank you, Elder Sailo. I think if we can sum up your statement in one sentence, public relation is the oxygen cylinder of the government and the private sector today in this days of pandemics. It is the oxygen cylinder, right?
Yeah.
So, Kaifi answer, over to you.
Rubina?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hope everyone's questions have been answered, and thank you. I would like to thank the esteemed speakers for this enriching interactive session. Now I would request my classmate, Dhiman Dey, to give the vote of thanks. Over to you, Dhiman.
Yeah, thank you, Rubina, for giving me this opportunity to give a formal vote of thanks. I was asked to note down the important points raised during the programs and summarize it during the vote of thanks speech. I was completely in awe of the session that forgot to note them down. But the points raised by eminent guests today have clarified many doubts about the PR strategies used in government and private sectors. Hence, I would extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, our Registrar, our respected deans, and Deputy Registrar who have encouraged and support us in organizing this erudite program. I would also like to thank our HOD, Dr. Mohammad Reyes, with whose unflinching administrative support we could not have organized such an event. I would also extend my sincere gratitude to our faculty member, Ghazala Yasmin ma'am and Kaifi Ansar Laskar ma'am, for trusting on us organizing this event. I would now take this opportunity to thank our esteemed speaker, Mr. Nurul Islam Laskar, on behalf of our department. So thank you for enriching us with your motivational and inspiring session. You have left us craving for more and hope that such other interaction will take place in future as well. And I also thank Anjuli Chittaranjan for providing such information and facts. I would like to also thank Mr. Sailo, the Regional Director of IIMC Aizawl, and the former Press Secretary to the Chief Minister Mizoram for sharing several facts about public relation field. I also thank Mr. Subhankar Banerjee, the founder and the Director of Seven Sense Communication and General Secretary of PRCI Guwahati Chapter, who is such an inspiration of youngsters like us. I would also thank our classmate Mehli, Rakshan, and Sramana for designing the poster, and Ishita, Asif, and Tohidi for reporting on this event, Mahat, Baharina, and Rubina for performing this MC duties well, although I might get some scolding for having goof up in during mine. I would also like to thank our other members of this program, Arijit, Arif, Neha, Rita, Farah, Sufi, Rahul, Safin, Hina, and Rashmuni for constantly supporting us and doing their bits from behind the platform. Our participants have also been our constant source of inspiration, without whose patience, listening, and maintenance the decorum. The program would not have been a success. With that, I have come to end of my long and exhaustive appreciation note. Thank you. Namaskar. Assalamu alaikum. Najidos. Till we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. So